Welcome to Mellow Belly Yoga. Today's class is a kind of a playful flow that came up for me in my own practice recently, and I thought it would be worth sharing it with you. Start by finding a comfortable seat on the floor, something that feels easy and relaxing. And we're just going to take a moment to arrive here on our mats. So if it feels comfortable, closing the eyes or letting your gaze grow a little bit fuzzy, as we draw our attention from the crown of the head downwards, just brushing it lightly over the head, the face and neck, the shoulders, the chest and upper back, allowing everything just to grow a little bit heavier as we ground down into our mats, arriving here today. Maybe tuning into your breath for this gentle moment. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and sighing it out. Let's do that together one more time. In through the nose. One more time in through the nose. And when you're ready to breathe out, pursing the lips and breathing out through the mouth as if you're blowing through a straw. Elongating the exhale. Do that a few more times. Seeing if that allows you to slow down. Feel like you're really here on your mat with me today. When you're ready, you can let that breath go, returning to a natural in and out through the nose at your own pace. Allowing your breath to set the pace today, matching the speed of your movements to your inhale and your exhale. Now moving on to a little bit of neck mobility. Gently lowering left ear to left shoulder. And staying here a little while, breathing freely. Seeing where you feel that stretch in your neck. Checking to see if you can feel that all the way up into the sinus cavity on the right hand side. On an inhale, bringing the head back up to center. Exhaling right ear to right shoulder. Staying here for a while. Again, feeling into that stretch. Where are you feeling it in your body? And bringing your curiosity just to those sinus cavities on the left hand side. On an inhale coming up. Exhale, lowering left ear to left shoulder. Coming up on the inhale. Exhaling, right ear to right shoulder. Moving like this with the breath. Just once more on each side. Inhaling, coming up. As you exhale, lower chin to chest, releasing through the neck. Seeing if you can feel that all the way down into the shoulders, either side of the spine. How does this feel in your body? Coming up on an inhale. And on the exhale, gently lifting the chin up towards the ceiling as you tilt the head back. That lifting motion in the chin helps to stop this from being a complete collapse backwards that might make your neck feel a little bit crunched. And exhaling, chin to chest. Following the rhythm of your breath now, inhaling up, lifting chin towards the ceiling as we look upwards. Exhaling, lowering chin to chest. Gently waking up the neck, starting to wake up the spine. And on your inhale, returning back to center. This time, bringing some movement into the arms, inhaling, arms come up. Exhaling into a seated forward fold. Now that might look like this. You might be up here, or you might go a little further, or even a little further. Wherever you want to be today, wherever your body feels is enough for today. And once you're there, wherever you are, seeing if you can really release the neck and the head down towards the floor. Creeping the fingers out a little or a little more. And feeling the body anchoring down into your mat and the floor. Then we're just going to spider crawl these fingers over towards the left. See if you can place that left palm flat and the right palm on top. Breathing into that right side of the body. Feeling your right sit bone anchored into the floor. Creating that full side stretch. Breathing here. And then spider crawling those fingertips back through center and over towards your right. As far as you feel like going today. Placing palm down, right palm down, left palm searches for right palm. Left sit bone anchors down into the floor to really feel into that left side body stretch. Breathing here. How does this side feel different or similar to the right side? I mean the left side. And spider crawling those fingers back to the center, back to our seated forward fold. And on an inhale, gently curling up the spine, finding our seated shape from the very beginning. From here, place your arms behind you to free up the legs. Place the feet flat on the floor, knees bent. And from here, we're going to start to wake up the hips with this sort of gentle hip mobility exercise. You're going to lift up your left hand, sweep round in a big motion to reach behind you as you lower left knee and right knee to the floor. And just sweep all the way back round. And as left hand touches, right hand takes off in this big, wide, sweeping motion. Your knees don't have to touch all the way down to the floor. Wherever they're reaching today is where they're reaching. And just flow back and forth here. You can use the breath as your metronome, or you can just freestyle it. waking up the hip sockets. If you find yourself starting to sort of bum crawl forward, that's okay. You can always come back to your mat when you're done. Hands come back behind you, knees bent, feet flat. Scooching back if necessary. And from here, coming back to our seated shape. Maybe this time crossing, if you're in a cross-legged position, just bringing a different shin in front. From here, once again, deep breath in, arms come up. And we're going to interlace the fingers behind the head, the sort of skull coming to rest in that little hammock created by our thumbs. And we're going to practice a little bit of cat-cow, seated cat-cow. So that's really just going to be in the upper back. So inhaling, bringing the elbows wide, gaze lifts up to the ceiling, heart beaming forwards. Exhaling, drawing elbows in and chin to chest. You can use the weight of your hands to bring a little extra stretch into the neck here, but you're not pulling yourself down. Inhale for our cow, our seated cow. Exhaling for our seated cat. And flowing like this with your breath, following your own rhythm. One more, as we're waking up the spine even more. Coming up, releasing hands either side. Now I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. And from your seated shape, stretching legs out in front of you for Dandasana or staff pose. You can just give those legs a wiggle and a jiggle if they're feeling like they need it after all of those sitting shapes. Feet are alive and alert, flexed, as we try to find this tall spine in this shape. If this is feeling challenging, you can always bend at your knees to help bring that length into the spine. So wherever you are, we're going to inhale, arms up. And similar to that seated forward fold, we kind of come into our Paschimottanasana and reach forward, letting our spine sort of drape over the legs. Now you might be up here, you might be a little further with hands on ankles or shins, you might be able to grab your feet. All of it's good. We're just searching for that stretch in the back body, seeing if you can release that neck. Breathing here, feeling that all the way into your hamstrings. And as you breathe, seeing if there's any extra room being created, or backing off a little bit if it's too intense. When you're ready, letting that go, coming back up to our staff pose. And this is where our little flow and our play time is going to start. Lifting up your right foot. Bring it across the leg, the left leg, and placing the foot flat beside your left knee. Inhaling, bringing arms up either side of the ears. Turn your torso towards the right, only as far as it can go on its own. Once you've reached that limit, lowering the arms. Left elbow hooks in behind right knee, and right hand sweeps back behind you, half Lord of the Fishes. Searching for that tall spine on the inhale, and twisting a little bit or a little more on the exhale, feeling that sense of majesty in this half Lord of the Fishes shape. Breathing into that twisted belly, finding where the air can go easily and where it must push. Now, this is where the fun comes in. On an inhale, you're going to bring your gaze back to center. We're going to unhook that left arm, sweeping it around, similar to how we did earlier. And as that left hand sort of finds contact with the ground, and we've got our right arm out here for balance, we're going to sort of push up using this foot, using this hand to get some clearance. So now we're balancing on that foot, our hand, and our other heel. And we're going to start to swivel, bringing right hand down and using that foot at the back to kick up into a one-legged down dog. Stay here for a breath. Exhale, step that left foot forward. And I'm just going to shuffle back on my mat to give myself a little bit more room here. And from this sort of low lunge shape, see if you can, maybe you can do this in one step, maybe you inch that back foot forward a little bit and do it in increments. But we're going to come up into a one-legged mountain, one-legged Tadasana, drawing that back foot all the way forward. Maybe your knee is going to stay here with thigh parallel to the ground, or maybe you can draw it up a little bit more. We are going to raise our arms all the way up here. Hands come to Anjali Mudra, prayer shape at heart center. And as those hands lower, see if we can move into a kind of a cat spine here, drawing knee up to forehead, forehead down to knee, crunching and curling in here. Then with hands still at heart center, pendulum tipping the torso forward, back leg stretches out into a warrior three. Now maybe your toes are just down here on the mat behind you. Maybe there's a little bit of lift off or a little bit more. If you lose your balance here, just coming right back to where you were. All of this is great for the body. Losing it, wobbling, coming back. Gently lowering that back foot down to the floor. Foot parallel to the short end of your mat, finding ourselves in the perfect setup for a warrior two. Front knee is bent. Arms out wide. Gaze over those front fingers. Stay here for a moment to catch your breath if you need to. Exhale, feeling this expansive shape firming up through the inner back thigh, lowering a little deeper into that front knee. And then on an inhale, straightening out that front knee, lowering backhand to your back thigh, reaching up and over with your hand. Gaze can maybe come over that back shoulder for a reverse warrior. Another side stretch shape. Exhale. Back to warrior two, bending that front knee. Now we're going to turn both feet out. Sweep the arms up and around for a big star-shaped stretch. Feet are out diagonally, and we're just going to take those feet in, so that both are parallel to the short ends of your mat. And we're going to fold the body forward for a standing forward fold. Releasing the head and the neck. You can give it a little shake, a little nod.
Again, your knees can be as bent as they need to be here to allow you to feel that sense of sort of like draping the body forward. If you have any blocks and you'd like a little bit of help bringing the ground up closer, you can grab those, or you can just work with whatever range you have while your fingertips are on the floor. On an inhale, we're coming into a halfway lift, so spine is sort of going from this C-shapey fold up, stretching out and forward, gaze sort of gently in front of you here. Exhaling, folding down, and just flowing with that, inhaling, bringing more intention and energy to the spine as it stretches out in front and then releases. Can you feel a sort of a wave as you do that? Now you can work with bending and straightening the knees here, or you keep the legs stationary. Whatever you want to do. You're free here. Releasing down one last time. This time our front feet are going to turn out. Back to our sort of warrior 2 feet. And we're going to take that left hand out and up just a little bit. You can, again, I'm going to scooch to give myself a little bit of space here. So they're just sort of slightly to the left and to the front of that front foot. And we're going to come up to explore a half moon. So you can have your toes just sort of kissing the ground at the back there as you search for a little bit of a half moon sort of shape with your hips facing outwards towards that wall. And maybe there's a little lift off here. Again, if you need a block to raise the floor up towards you, that's great. All the wobbling, all the losing of your balance and finding it again is welcome here. Exhaling, lower that right hand to the floor. Hips are going to turn now to be square with the floor. We're finding ourselves in a standing split. And this foot that we've got up in the air, we're going to bring those toes down just to kiss the mat. Brush those over the midline, out to the side, and then use the sort of the top of that foot, or curl over onto the toes to swivel the body back. And you might need to rearrange yourself here. That's okay. Take your time. And look at that. Right arm takes off, sweeps around. Right elbow hooks into left knee. Left hand is behind us. As we gaze over that left shoulder, here we are, back in half Lord of the Fishes on the other side. Take a moment to breathe in this shape, feeling into that twist in your torso, and resting here just a little bit after that active flow. And guess what? Now we're going to do all of that on the other side. So when you're ready, bringing your gaze back to center, unhooking right elbow, letting that right arm sweep back around you. Right hand finds the floor, left arm comes up as we start to lift off. And that foot that was stretched, that whole leg that was stretched out long is now going to come up in our one-legged down dog. Breathing here, hips lifting up towards the sky. Point and flex the foot. And then curling knee in towards the chest, gesturing a kind of a cat in the shoulder blades. Step that right foot forward. And from here, once again, I'm scooching back to give myself a little bit of room. Seeing if we can play with that step forward into one-legged mountain. So that could either be in increments or in one step. And arms come up, knee lifts up towards the sky. Palms meet in Anjali Mudra, lowering that prayer shape down to heart center, curling into a cat spine as we lift knee up and lower forehead down. From here, seeing if we can flow into a warrior one, bringing heel to buttock, letting the torso tip forward like a pendulum, stretching that back leg out, or allowing those feet to, those little toes to come and find a little touch point behind you. Seeing if, rather than having that temptation of letting those hips flare out, maybe bring your hands to your hips to check out, am I staying square with the floor? My balancing leg is talking to me. From here, stepping gently, as gently as you can, as gracefully as you can, or not so gracefully, with your back foot parallel to the short end of your mat, front foot parallel to the long end of your mat. Arms come up and out into a big T shape, bending into the front knee, warrior two. Taking a moment here, feeling the expansive shape in your chest. Exhaling it out. On an inhale, straightening the front leg, lowering the back hand to search for the back thigh. As we reach up and over with the other hand, palm flips to face the floor as we slide down for a side stretch in reverse warrior. You can stay here for a breath or two. Back into warrior two. Bending that front knee, firm through that inner left thigh. Now, coming into that gorgeous star stretch. Feet out wide in a V. Arms stretch up and out. Mega full body stretch here. And then we just turn those feet parallel as we bend forward, allowing the body to just release down towards the ground. Breathing here. Standing forward fold. Now moving into our little flow. Inhale. Spine reaches forward for a halfway lift. Exhale, maybe bending at the knees as we melt back down. Seeing if you can create that sense of a wave as you come forward and roll back down. Moving like this at your own speed. Adding your own flair. Just enjoying sensation. And now, when you're done, turning that front foot out, parallel to the long edge of your mat. Right hand comes forward and out of that front foot. And we dip over, playing around here with our half moon. Back foot can either stay with a little touch point to the back, drawing that left arm up towards the ceiling as if you're drawing a bow and arrow. Maybe the back foot has a little bit of lift off, gazing at that world beside us. Playing with that balance, losing it, finding it. And again, from here, lowering left hand to the floor, turning the hips, swiveling them to be square with the floor, finding ourselves in a standing splits, lowering left toes down to the mat. As we do a funny little twizzle one last time, bump, bum down into our original little twist that we used for our setup for Lord of the Fishes, half Lord of the Fishes, but here we're just going to let that go. Coming back to Dandasana, coming back to our staff pose. Inhaling, arms come up. With knees bent or knees straight, just exhaling, draping the body over the front legs. Releasing all of that. Staying connected to the breath, staying connected to sensation. When you're ready, gently curling back up. Exhale with a big sigh. Let's do that one more time. Breathing in. Exhale. This time with the pursed lips as if we were blowing through a straw. Inhale. And out. Turning that out breath into a long, thin thread. One more time. Okay. Feet flat on the ground, knees are bent. We're going to stretch those arms out in front and gently peel the spine down very slowly. Curl that tailbone forward. See if you can come down with control. And here we are on the floor, making yourself comfortable, reorganizing. Place your arms in a wide V either side of the body, palms flat. And similar to that sort of 90-90 hip mobility exercise we did earlier, we're just going to release the knees to the right as gaze comes to the left. Kind of windscreen wipers. Your knees can be as high off the ground as you want, or they can come and make contact. Whatever feels good here. This is our final wind down. When you're done, bringing knees back to center, gaze back to center, and choose one little sort of freestyle shape you can do here. It might be a full body stretch, maybe it's going to be a little happy baby, whatever you want to do here. And coming back to feet flat on the floor if you ever left, and setting up for a little Baddha Konasana on our backs. So your your soles of your feet are going to press in towards each other. That can, give you a little bit of lift off in the glutes if you want to reposition yourself. If you're feeling like that kind of opening in the hips is a little bit, fragile or a bit extreme, you can ball your hands into fists and just park those fists underneath your bones, your thighs. Give it a little support here. See if that allows you to feel safe and free enough to just let it go. If you got any
props, you can park them under your thighs. This is really nice, a really nice shape if you add pillows and bolsters to it. Just allowing the goodness of your practice today just to sink into the body a little bit. As you're held here on your mat. You can stay here if that feels good, or you can come to your final shape, your Shavasana, your corpse pose. Allowing to your ankles just to fall out freely. Arms either side of the body. Give yourself a little shimmy and a shake as you find your happy place here where you can come into stillness. Hoping that all of that channeling of the energies of the body through movement creates a little space now for you to find stillness both in the body and the mind. You're welcome to stay here longer. Otherwise, bringing your hands into Anjali Mudra, prayer shape, bringing them up to the forehead, giving thanks to ourselves for showing up on our mats today, and recognizing the origins of this practice and the transatlantic journey it's been on to reach this channel. Thank you so much for letting me guide you today.